Hello YouTubers, how are you today? Hope everyone is well. Just wanted to let you know where we left off. We had a little mix-up on the iPhone, and what happened on the iPhone was it said it ran out of storage and then stopped my video. So we had already talked about doing these 3 pockets, doing the edges, doing the edge of this pocket, and measuring this full length back portion, putting a little mark in the center, and then readjusting the mark that was on this in the center, marking our 2 sides, putting our glue down, then gluing this entire piece. And the reason we did this here with the center section is because when you do the center section in the center of this, that pretty much centers everything. And so that should give us about the same amount of, and it does, about 9 millimeters on each side. So this is perfectly spaced. And so what we'll go ahead and do from here is we'll make sure this is lined up and sand this down just a hair so that we can turn this and take our calipers, our wing dividers, and mark this. And go ahead and knock the holes in here and stitch this down. From there we'll be stitching these 2 ends, and like I was telling you in the last video, this will come over, we'll flatten this down, marry this outside portion up to it, take the pressure off, flatten it down, going ahead and gluing, marking, and pounding in the holes between here and here on this piece right here. And then once that's completed, we'll do the same thing with this side. We'll come all the way over as far as we can, and this will then obviously marry up with that. Press that down, that'll take the pressure off. Then we can kind of glue these 2 together, and then once they're glued, sanded, pound our holes and stitch that, and our wallet will be complete. So let's get to it. So I'm going to, rather than use the Dremel, I'm going to be using this paper here to create a better, pleasurable experience with your ears. So here we go. We're going to start off here with some 120 grit, pretty heavy, because this is a little undone, a little crooked here. This piece sticks out a little further, so let's go ahead and get that done. And that's the only area we're going to sand. done now. Let's check this out. And we'll do one direction. Just pulling it toward me. And let's give it a little brush. Much better. Let's give it a little bit more. Just a little bit more. It looks pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and get this a brush off here on our paper. And then we'll go ahead and get this put in our trash. There we go. Get all of that off and in the trash. Okay. So now that we've got that pretty well done, let's go ahead and realign this canvas. Alright. So now we'll just go ahead and pop in our line. And we'll stitch across here rather than make a bunch of noise, so you don't have to listen to stitching. We'll see you back here in just a moment. And so there we go, just like magic. So we started here, one tooth off. We punched that in and punched all the way to the end. with one tooth hanging over. Punch it all the way to the back side. And now we're going to stitch it. And so, stitching. As usual, we measure it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and a little bit more. There we go. Get in here and get our needles out of our handy dandy little needle case that was made for me. A sweet little gentleman just getting into the leather business made that for me. And matter of fact, I think he put his initial on there. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so we will pull that through. Give ourselves about 1.5 links of this. Poke that through all the way through. Pull that back through. And pull this off the end. Pull it tight, and it gets us held on with no big knots. That's how you thread the needle or leather. We'll file this in here like so. Pull it back, pull it through, and we're ready to go. So now we just need to go ahead and get ready to thread this. And so away we go. Beautiful ways of technology and leather magic. And I don't know if I told you, but earlier the reason why the camera was cutting out is because it said the iPhone was full. And I couldn't figure it out because I deleted my videos. As I got to looking into it, it said that you also got to delete your recently deleted videos because they'll stay in there for up to 30 days. And so that's why it wasn't taking any videos or not much off my storage. So I found out there's a way that you have to go into your photos. And maybe some of you guys know this, maybe some of you don't, but you go into photos and then you got to go into recently deleted. I think you scroll up down to the bottom and you look for recently deleted. Oh, you go into, instead of libraries, you go into albums. I think that's what it was. And then you go to the bottom and then you look for recently deleted. And then when you pull those up, then you can go in and select all Make sure you definitely want to delete them all. Delete them, and then that actually will take the storage off your iPhone. And I didn't know that. So that's why it kept cutting off my iPhone every time I would get started on a video, and I would get 5 minutes into it, get this much done or something, And so that's why you guys are seeing this thing done each time. Except when I'm moving, I figured out how to pause the videos because there's no reason for you to see me moving everything around. That's a little boring. And so, and eventually I may just stitch things off camera so it shortens the videos. Because after a certain while, you won't need to sit here and watch me do stitching. Stitching's a little boring watching. And it's something that you need to perfect. And it'll be something I'll be teaching. And so I think what I'm going to do is I start stitching these in these videos. I'm just going to pause it and stitch it off camera. And then if you want to go and check it out, you can check out a stitching video on how to stitch. And then that way you won't have to watch every single thing. But you will get the gist of how everything is working. And if I run into a problem with the stitching, I'll turn the camera on for that particular piece, show you what I ran into and how I corrected it, so that you get all the good nuggets on how to fix things. Because in the leather business, it's not about whether you will run into problems or not, because you will. It's how do you fix them? It's how do you fix them? How do you repair them? How do you fix them the right way so that the client doesn't see any ugliness in there? Even though there may have been mistakes, how do you not necessarily cover them up, but how do you fix them? What is the proper way to fix them and still leave the piece strong and vibrant, looking good, undamaged? And that's what I want to teach you, how to do that, because we're not looking to hide things from people. Such as sometimes when we mark things, we'll mark them on the inside. Like those marks you saw me put earlier. I marked them in a pen so I can see them good, but they're marked down here on the bottom. But after I stitched 4mm stitching, you'll never see those. The only way you would see those is if you ever took this wallet apart. And then you would see those lines. And of course, if you ever took the wallet apart for any reason, because maybe you wanted to restitch it different color, because that's always a possibility. We can do that for clients, and I'll teach you how to do that. You'll get some clients that'll love their wallet or their leather piece that they have, but they'll want to change the color of the stitching, and you can charge for that. So I'll show you how to go in and remove the old stitching, and if anything comes apart or falls apart, I'll show you how to clean it. Put some more adhesive cement on it and restitch it. re-clean it so that it'll practically look like a new unit, whereas you're really just taking their item and updating it. And that's kind of cool. That's the really neat thing about real leather. You can do things like that, hand stitched. You can't really do that very well with machine stitched. You can kind of try, but it's not as easy. And sometimes the machine stitching puts a lot of pressure on the leather or flattens it. Sometimes damages it. And so when you take it apart, and you unglue it, those pieces come out. And so it's just not the same. Whereas a lot of times when we do hand stitching, we can take this stitching out. That glue that we use, that contact cement, it's made for you to take a bone folder once it's dry and go in there and bust it apart so that the only thing really that's holding it together is the stitching. And that's why when we get finished with stitching, I'll show you. We take our bone folder and bust apart the contact cement or the glue that's holding everything together. So for instance, this side and this side and this side, those and this side, this whole piece is stitched now. So, you could take your bone folder and go in and go along the edges and run it down, and you can hear it breaking that glue apart in there. So that glue that got in there past or got on the inside, or maybe I, made too much glue. You just take that and bust it apart. That way you can put your cards in there without incident. I'll show you here. So your cards won't get jammed up. So you can see now the cards fit in there just nice. Slide right in there, just like that. So as we get our wallet done, that's what we'll do. Take our bone folder, and they call it a bone folder because it typically looked like this, which this one is made out of real bone. You can kind of see, kind of hard to see, but you can see it's made out of real bone, and you can see the grain and stuff in there. Let me see if I can. Kind of see that. See how that's made. That's why they call that a bone folder, because it's made out of animal bone. And they typically, and this is the piece that you would put down here like this and run it. You run it down the side, run it down this side on the inside, run it across, run it up that side, and then run it on the inside like this along the big sides, not just the pocket but the insides. And we'll do the same thing for this side, the inside, the whole 9 yards. But we can't do that until we get everything stitched, because we don't want to bust up any glue like here that may be holding this together. So if we do, then this will be flapping in the wind, and we need that glue to hold this until we get the stitching popped through here. Then once the stitching's popped through, once the holes are popped through, and then the stitching is popped through, stitched, then we can remove the glue. So there you have it. So we've got that done. So we'll just go ahead and on camera here and go ahead and clip this right here and here. Okay. And then we're going to want to take this to the desk, singe these off here, or I can just singe them off right here, I suppose. Singe this off right here. Camera should adjust for that. Yep, there we go. And then now we'll be ready for our next side in just a moment. Okay, so we got that all completed. We'll just want to go ahead and give this a little pound. Not a lot, just with the edge right here. Just to kind of flatten that out a little bit. The other thing we can do is we can kind of flatten this out. And that'll do the same thing as well. And flattens out that stitching. Yeah. And then just take our cleaner canvas. Just kind of clean that just gently. I always like to continue cleaning the wallet as I get things done. That way when you get it done, it'll look really, really nice. And it'll look like a finished piece. Plus, if you have any marks, you'll notice them right away, and you can take care of them. So, next, we want to fold this over, and we're going to go all the way to this line here because that's about how far over that's going to fold. And press this down. Press that down gently. I had an old mentor that told me, never overhandle a piece of leather and don't ever bend it where you don't have to. You should allow the new client that purchased that to bend it. But in this case, we need to do that. So we'll turn this, and then we want to marry this up like right on the money. Okay, like even around the sides where you can take your finger and you can feel that everything is even. And then bend that back over, holding everything together with your forefingers and thumbs. Push that down and gently crease the outside of the wallet right there. What this is going to do, it's going to take the pressure off this wallet. It's going to take the pressure because this is stiff and it's flexible. And so it wants to fling, and there's a lot of pressure there. But we want this even here. Okay, we want it very even on. We want to feel it with our fingers that it's even, because this is not painted yet, so sometimes it doesn't look like, when you look at that, you're thinking, oh, that looks like that's pulled back a little bit, but it's not. It's actually even. It's just unpainted. So, we want to go all the way to the edge and then flatten that down. Yeah, okay? And then that's going to give us a fold in our wallet right there. Okay. Some people might fold it a little earlier, but I like to fold mine a little bit out. And the reason is that it makes for a better handling and smaller wallet rather than a fatter. Because if we were to back that up and crease this exactly on the middle of this here, then it would be real long, and then this wouldn't fit here and that wouldn't fit over. They would be like, instead of this, they would be way off like that. It just wouldn't look good, in my opinion. So that's why I do it that way. So once we folded that, it's taken the pressure off. You can see it's got some stress cracks in there, which is fine. We want to bend that back and kind of hold it there where we would bend it. Okay. Make sure that's even. Make sure this is even. And then we want to put a little mark inside of here, just inside of the card case, right here on this side. Okay. And this is going to be for where do we glue. And so we know we're going to glue there. We're going to come all the way around to this stitching point right here. And so this stitching point is where we left off, right there. And so we're going to put a little mark there. Not a big one, just a little mark. And now we know we'll stop our stitches there. And we know this mark is going to be right there on that line. So we can put glue between here, 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 and here, and be prepared. Let it start drying, and when it's dry, clamp it together. Excuse me. Let it dry a little bit. And then we will stitch it. Coming up to the final. These are just the last couple things we do, folks, on this wallet, other than some aesthetics for the outside. This wallet is almost complete. May have seemed long to you, but it's really not that long. I mean, it's 5-6 hours total. And that's a good piece, but for what it is, what you're going to have, how well it's going to be built, it's not bad timing at all. Most guys would have more time than that in it. Sometimes they wouldn't even have the forethought or knowledge And so while this is drying, this is going to want to fold forward, so I always take my sanding block, just lay it right there to keep that open, and so this will dry. There's really not much more we can do while this is drying. We can't remark this side because we need to leave this laying down. So we're going to pause the video for a few minutes and let this set here. And I'm going to clean up a few things, kind of organize. While it's doing that, making sure things are charged. And then we'll meet you back here in a hot minute. So stand by. Okay, we're back, and I think we're dried up good enough here. So the way we do this is we just kind of leave this in like a 45-degree angle, bend this over so that the pressure is not on. And then we'll move these back and forth to move these up and back. Okay? And so we want to make sure that this edge here and this edge here is perfectly in level. And then give it a little pinch. Give that a little pinch. And keep coming up. Making sure that that's right on that edge. Give that little pinch. The corner. Give that little pinch. And then finally, make sure that this is on. Give this a pinch. And sometimes, if this is not exactly perfect, you can kind of bend this back this way so that you're bending this leather back, and then this outside leather. If you bend that back, you'll marry it up and then press it together, and then it will fit perfect. And then it'll be even. So when you're running your fingers across it here, you'll feel that it's pretty well taken care of. And instead of, a lot of guys would then take this and set it up like this, and then they would pound that in. But then it leaves marks. That's why I bought these. So now that we've done that, we can kind of take this and press this real good. Just go around pressing this together. Once we've done it with our hands, hand pressure, now we can do it with this. These things are really good because they'll really press pretty well. You don't want to over press, but you definitely want to get a good press in on them. Okay? So there we go. That's all pressed. We're going to let this dry. And then I'm going to take my Dremel off camera. And I'm going to Dremel this. I'm going to Dremel this so that it's perfectly smooth. Because right now I can feel it. There's some glue sticking out this sandwich. Some glue here. Make sure that's nice. Even. Taken down. To get prepared to finish marking this from where we left off with this stitching and where we left off with this stitching. And then we will mark it once that's all nice and level, we'll mark it with our calipers all the way around, all the way down. And then from there we will take our little punch holes in it. When we get to the corners, we will use our 2-prong, because our 2-prong can turn corners by going there, going there, going there, going there. And then once we're back on a straightaway, then we can go back to using these here, and then make sure that these marry up with these ones here that we had already put in there. So we'll need to go ahead and punch this before we get this completely done. Go ahead and punch this in one more time right here, and then see if by using this in the techniques that I'm going to teach you, hopefully we'll get this to line right up. Or if it's not perfectly lined up, I'll show you how to get it to fit, to kind of waller it in there. So then everything will be punched, stitched, and then this side will be done. And then that'll force us to the other side. So let's let this dry. Then I'm going to go ahead and Dremel this. Once it's Dremeled, I'm going to go ahead and create my stitches in here, in here. And kind of go ahead and get ready. And then we will be back to you very shortly. I'll probably in between that time go ahead and eat lunch, because it's lunchtime for me. So everybody around here is getting hungry. So we'll be back to you in a leather moment. And we'll probably go ahead and we'll try to keep this on the same video. We'll just make this video a tiny bit longer. I think we're going to try to do that. Let's see how it works out. Okay, YouTubers, so I went ahead and took the Dremel tool so I could get this done real quick, and had lunch. Went ahead and sanded this down real nice, evened it up. And so now I'm going to go ahead and take my wing dividers, roll around here, just like so. Come around just to the point. And then the way I'll do this is, since I already have these marked from the last time, we'll start with those. I'm just going to give it a little tap, like I would do if I were doing hand pressure. I'm not going to do the whole thing, it'd be extremely loud. Over there, like that, like so. Just to kind of give you an idea of what we're going to do and how we're going to be doing this one. So I'll take this up, and it still fits stays inside the lines there, right on that curve. Tap that in. And we'll come around this corner here with the 2-prong. Really nice. Come around. Hit that. Come back with our straight. We're going to come back straight. We're going to stop right here for a second. And what we're going to do is we're going to come back up here is I want to make sure that we start right here and that we have one tooth hanging over this, and then we're not going to have a hole in the middle of it. So I want to make sure that that's in, and that's going to go right in there like so. And if this back end is right, give it a little tap. So we can see that's going to go in right there. It's going to come right over. So we're going to get a nice secure strap over this end without it busting through. And if I put this on one of the tooths, it's going to just come a little over. So what I'm going to do is kind of pick this up, and because if I put this right on the money here, it's going to come a little over. So what I'm going to do is come back a little bit so that it's just shooting the outside of this hole on one side and the outside of the hole on this other side evenly, but right on the line, like so. Okay? And then we're going to give it a little tap. And what that's going to do is that's going to split my stitching. So that's what we're doing right there. There we go. So, not to make a bunch of noise, I'm going to go ahead and take this off camera. I'm going to go ahead and pop these holes. I'm going to set these stitches in here because you've seen me stitch already. And then we're going to do and glue this side. And then once we glue, we're going to go ahead and take the Dremel and Dremel this down just like we did this side. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to make sure that this one tooth here is over on the outside. We're going to set our stitch there, set it here, come around, use our 2-prong around the corner, come up. Well, we'll come up just a little bit right here, and then we'll take this one and come down to make sure that we are running in hole to hole. And if these are a little off, what we'll want to do is like put the prong on the outside of one hole and maybe the inside of the other hole, however it lines up, and then punch it, and then that way it looks even and it looks like we punched it perfectly. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and punch that and stitch it. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, YouTubers, we finally got that all taken care of. Got that stitched down all the way around, so that's pretty much done. So this is just going to need to be cleaned up, sanded, taking the edges off, and putting a little edge coating on there. And then this part will be completely done. Yeah. So now what we need to do is fold this part over, which we have. Okay. And then we're going to fold this part over as far as we can in the sandwich, kind of holding it and then pressing it down. Yeah. And that way it'll create our trifold. We'll bring this up and even it up. And then with that even, we will go ahead and get this pressed down. And that'll leave a little bit of gap here for some money. Because as you put money in there, that's why you make this part on the outside bigger than this center section, so that you can put bills in there. Because as you put bills in there and then they fold around, this part will fill up quicker. So you want to make sure you got plenty of room in there, which we did, and we're in good shape. So based on that, we'll relax our tension, kind of put this up on our chest there, bring this up just like we did the last piece, get it evened up, kind of hold it together, if you will, and take our pen and go ahead and get this marked where we're going to put our glue. So we're going to mark it right here on this side. Obviously you'll know where it's going to be done on this side. Apologize. Let's try that again. Let's get this marked up here. Okay. I had it upside down. So there we go. Mark up this side, just inside this corner. Okay. We're going to turn it, and we're going to mark up this side right here, because we know that's where the glue is going to go. And then the glue will be done between here and here. You obviously could kind of take and look at this when you're gluing, but sometimes putting little marks, it's much easier to see. This marked here, I marked on accident. They're real easy to take off. The way I do them sometimes is I just take my scratch all and just kind of scratch that a little bit. Just kind of get it roughed up. Yeah, like so. Kind of roughs that up a little bit, and take our eraser we have. Just kind of erase that. Put a little eraser to it. Not too much, just a little bit. Kind of takes it off a little bit. There we go. And that'll take most of it off. And then moving forward, in time, it'll come completely out of there. So, moving around, we want to take our adhesive, I'll go ahead and glue from this point here down. We really just want to kind of keep it on the edge. This is getting a little thick, and I have some more up there. And so what I'll do is, the stuff that's up there in the other can is thin, and so I'll mix them and then stir that up, and it'll thin it out pretty well. The other thing is that you can buy some thinner, some glue thinner, but you have to buy the thinner that's made specifically for that glue. Because if you don't, it won't thin out right. A lot of people tried to do it in the past. Some of them say, yeah, it works fine, but 99% times out of 100, it's not going to work right if you don't get the right thinner to thin that glue down. So you'll want to get, in this case, we bought weldwood contact cement. And so you just need to look up and find a weldwood contact cement there. And once you have that cement thinner, you'll be good to go. Okay. So again, this is going to want to fall over. So just find our little handy dandy piece of wood that we used. I think it's over here. Yeah. I had it over here when I was punching the holes. And so put that in there and let that dry. Shouldn't take it too long to dry. And then from here we're going to go ahead and stitch that together, or put that together rather, and sand it, stitch it, and get it to the spot that this is in right now on this side. We're going to pause for a minute, and then when we come back, we'll be ready to finish putting the final on these sides and come in with our edge gloss. And then we'll let that dry. I mean, it's probably going to take a couple coats of edge gloss. So as we do the first one, what it does, it normally knocks off some of the imperfections there. So okay, so let's go ahead, line this up. We'll line this up right here against the top. Always line the top up first where there's no glue, and then make sure that we're coming in and putting that up against the edge best we can. Come right around that corner piece. And if it's taller, which it is in this case, we're going to want to peel this forward and then set these edges perfect to each other, just like we did the last one. It's harder to do with my arthritis. I have osteoarthritis, and it's really a killer to do this with arthritis, especially osteoarthritis, because I want to take and kind of, pull that around forward a little bit, get that as level as possible. Yeah, that as level as possible. without pulling it apart. Looks pretty good. It's not too bad. Okay. And then we can take our edgers and go ahead and crimp these like so, all the way around. We only do these edges because this is our open side of our wallet. So we'll take our pressing down a little bit, rubbing and heating that up with our canvas. Takes a little bit of the marks that our crimper put down, because it put a couple little marks in there, not too bad, but you could see them. They're almost invisible to most people, but I could see them in their leather there. But if you just press down and create a little heat, then that heats that up, takes those marks out of there for sure. Yeah, looks nice. It's going to come out just fine. Now as we rub, we want to keep our nice wallet mainly on top of our paper instead of this, because we punched in here with metal, and so some of this is rough. And if I'm pressing down and I'm rubbing and this slips, it could rub up against that and scratch. So you definitely want to have some paper behind your leather as you're doing this number here and polishing it up a little bit, gently pressing down, gently, very gently. Yeah. You can see it gets a nice little shine in there, and makes it look nice on the inside and the out. Fold that over, fold this over. Nice little wallet in about the cup of your hand. It's about perfect for a wallet. So, got this side stitched down, which gave us a nice pocket. It created, when they folded this in, crimp this with your fingers, and crimp this one with your fingers, like so. It created these little natural stress marks. It looks real nice. Looks like it's aged, antiqued a bit. Makes it look like it's supposed to be in there, but whereas it was actually smooth like this before we started. It all was smooth. So So there you go. There's your wallet, all completed. Off camera, I'm just going to go ahead and sand. Take the wing dividers. Take my punch. Punch some holes in there. Punches are over there. Punch some holes in here. Get a different kind. So we'll start with this hanging over and come down, come down one and then come back over here and start here. Punch, 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 punch. Switch over to a 2-punch. Turn and go up the 2-punch. And it comes straight on up. And then wherever we leave off with this punch, after we go around like this, let's say we punch this one in and the last hole's there. We want to make sure that that last hole is equal distance to the rest of these holes that are punched. Okay. That's it. Stitch that up, clean that up, and we'll put little edge cloths like this on it. This wallet will be done. Yeah. We'll take our bone folder. We'll go in here and clean it out like this. Go ahead and clean this one out. You can hear it as I run the bone folder through it. You can hear it breaking that glue free. Yeah, that's what it'll do. Break it free. And let's test out our. So we got this all stitched up. Yeah, came out nice. Came out real nice. Let's see how our pockets work. Look at that. Oh, they push down in there so nice. Look at that. They push down in there too. That's really nice. And you can pull them out. Look at that. So I knew that would work. So by giving it that little extra right there, coming up to the point right here, right there, allowed us to pull this out a little bit. Gave us enough that we can put our cards in nice and easy. Look at that. As time goes on, they'll be able to put a couple, 3 cards in there if they wanted to, really nice and easy. And then they'll be able to put their cards back here too, like so. So yeah, look how nice that worked. So very happy how that turned out. Yeah, turned out real nice, real nice. So now we've taken a wallet that the pockets were facing this way, and the client wanted them to face up and down like this, like he had. He had one that looked just like this. Well, not like this, not this leather, but and wasn't this good a construction, but he had a trifold, had the pockets up and down, and he had one card slot in each pocket. And that's what he wanted. So we just had to, we were used to him and everything. And he was like, yeah, you know what I'd really like to have? I'd like to have my pockets facing up. He looked at the other wallet and really liked it. Because I really like this wallet. It's nice, it's big on the inside. It smells good. But he says, man, I wish the pockets would go up and down. I said, I think I can make that happen. So we did. So he'll be quite surprised. So All I've got to do is start tracking down his number. Say, hey, I've got these figured out, got them finished up. They work really nice. What do you want? We'll make a couple more of these too as well. Maybe not as expensive leather as this, but we do have some other leathers that we can make. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel, and I would appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next build. Take care, my friends.